Hello everyone, how are you guys? So we Chalo Overseas here with yet another Instagram live session on Q&A. So this session would be a complete question and answer session. So you can ask us anything on Canadian admission process. We'll start the session in 2 or 3 minutes. Hi
Good
Shashi.
evening.
Good evening Shashi. How are you?
I'm good. Rizwan, how are you doing?
I am good. Thank you so much. So I guess we can start the session. So hello everyone. How
Sure.
are you doing today? I am Rizwan Khan, student recruitment consultant in Chalo Overseas, here today with my colleague Shashi to bring forward to you yet another interactive and fun Instagram live session. So this week we are here with the Q&A session on Ask Us Anything on the Canadian admission process. So over to you, Shashi.
Thank you so very much, Rizwan. Hello, everybody. My name is Shashi, and I work as a manager with Chalo Overseas. And to just give you a little bit about my background, I went as a student to Canada. I did my post graduation in human resources. Also had an opportunity to study there, work there, live there for a few years. And for the longest time, I worked with the government of Canada. So, in other words, I walked in your shoes, and I'd be happy to answer your questions today. So, yeah, Rizwan, we'll go with it.
Yeah. All right. So guys, you can post out any questions on the chat below. All right, so there's this one question. So, what are the popular intakes in Canada?
There are three popular intakes in Canada. There is one which is termed according to the seasons. One is fall semester, which begins in September. And then there is a winter semester, which is January, followed by spring, which would be like, in the month of May, spring or summer, in the month of May. But the most popular one, I would say, is fall semester. And yeah, as they term according to the seasons. It's fun moving in at that time.
Right, I guess so. So, okay, thank you for answering that. So, there's one more question from our Instagram user. What are the documents
Hmm?
required for the admission process?
Okay, again, it depends whether you're going as an undergraduate student or as a graduate student. So all that they would require is your academic transcripts. So if you're going as an undergraduate student or you want to pursue undergraduate studies there, you need your 10th standard and 12th standard mark sheet. And if you're going for your master's program, along with that, your bachelor's degree certificate is important. And you will also need what is called as a statement of purpose to say, like, why you would want to study in that particular college or university and why Canada. So that's an important document. And I can think of letter of recommendation. So that is also a requirement for admission. Besides all these academic records, you also need to write English language test to know to say that you're good with English language skills. So the most popular English language testing for admission purpose is IELTS, which is International English Language Testing System.
Oh, nice. Thank you so much for that. I guess we've answered that question. So, going on to the next one, what is the
Mhm.
timeline to obtain an LOA?
Okay, LOA stands for Letter of Acceptance. Normally we use abbreviations and might not be very clear with others. So letter of acceptance time depends. But before even we talk about letter of acceptance, Rizwan, let's also think about when you should apply. So ideally, you should apply 6 to 8 months before the term date. And specifically, if you're going for a master's degree, it's very, very competitive in Canada. So you need to apply very well in advance. However, once you have submitted all your completed documents, then you would get your acceptance between, I would say, 4 weeks to 12 weeks. Again, it varies depending on the program, depending on the college, university, province, and so on. But general timeline would be like, 4 to 8 weeks after completed submission of the documents.
Okay, thank you so much for answering. So there's one more question. Uh, is SOP important in the admission process?
Yes, again, SOP is a statement of purpose. It clearly demonstrates your interest in studying that particular subject or a particular program. I think it's very important for the admissions people or the admission staff to know, like, what is your intent of studying that particular program. So I think it's very important to explain your background, your academic credentials, your extracurricular activities, your interest in the program, and anything that you would want to say about you. I think that's a perfect way to explain yourself to the admission people. Yes, it
Right,
is
right.
important.
Yes, yes. All right. So SOP is very important in the admission process, guys. So,
And I think just add on to that, I think it's very important that the student writes SOP themselves rather than have somebody write it for them. Is because I think it comes out in all honesty if you write about yourself. I think there's no better advocate than yourself, right? So I would highly recommend students to do that on their own. Of course, we
yeah,
can help them or professionals can help them, but I think the initial draft should come from the student.
absolutely. That is absolutely so true. Personal touch should always be better.
Absolutely.
Right. All right. So, moving on to the next one. What
Mm-hmm.
test scores are required in IELTS, GRE, GMAT, or Duolingo for obtaining an admission in Canada?
Again, these are all tests that is required depending on the program the student would want to take. As I said before, IELTS is the most common examination or common test that is taken for admission overseas, and it's accepted all across the world. So in Canada too, IELTS is the most common requirement, and it
Right.
tests you on 4 skills, which is listening, speaking, writing, and reading. And the minimum expectation to score would be like a 6 band in each of this. And overall, a 6.5 in IELTS would be a good score, I would say. And GRE would generally be required if somebody wants to pursue engineering degree or science background. And GMAT would be a requirement for somebody who would want to do their MBA program or management studies. And Duolingo is kind of, getting a substitute, being a substitute for IELTS, especially when you want quick results. But at any point of time, IELTS would be a requirement for admission. Duolingo would still be accepted. Again, it might vary from university to university, this one. So not all university might require it. So it's better to check the requirements.
Right. All right. Thank you so much for answering it. And moving on to the next one. There's this question from our Instagram user. So, what is
Mhm.
PGWP, postgraduate work permit?
Yes, postgraduate work permit is an opportunity for a student to stay back in Canada after they complete the studies. So this is, I think, an excellent opportunity for international students, I would say. Say, for example, if you pursue a 1-year degree in Canada, you get the similar length of time period PGWP to stay back. So if you're going for 1-year study, then you also end up staying for 1 more year to get an opportunity to work. So what you study and then you work, that's a great one. And if one pursues a 2-year study program in Canada, then they get a 3-year postgraduate work permit. And I think it's an awesome opportunity for an international student. So 2 years of study and 3 years of postgraduate work permit. So totally 5 years you're legally allowed to stay back in Canada. And then if you intend to stay there back permanently, then you can apply for a permanent residency and eventually become a Canadian citizen. So this is exactly the path I went through too. So I went as an international student, got a work permit, then permanent resident. Now I'm a Canadian citizen. So, it's actually Canada is one of the known countries in the world which offers this excellent opportunity for international students. And I think that's one of the main reasons why Canada also stands the #1 country to pursue the education. But yeah, postgraduate work permit program is something that you might want to look into when you even apply for admission.
Right. Thank you
Hope
so
that
much,
helps.
Shashi. Yes, yes, that
Yeah.
answers. And we have a question from our Instagram user Kavya. Is IELTS
Mhm.
required for going to Canada?
Yes, Kavya, I think you might have missed my answer before. IS is definitely important for going to Canada, both in terms of admission as well as for visa as well. So Duolingo could be okay for your admission purpose, but for visa, I think IELTS would be a definite requirement. And IELTS is not really a difficult examination. I don't know, like people actually get scared, but I think with enough practice, one would be able to get a good score. So I would say, even as an IELTS tutor myself, I would say you might require 2 months of, say, focus study, and you should be able to get a good IELTS band score. The maximum is 9 though, and the minimum requirement for admission would be like 6.5, depending on the program again.
Thank you. I hope that answers the question, Kavya. So there's this next question on visa process. What is
Mhm.
GIC?
Oh, GIC would stand for Guaranteed Income Certificate. So this is an expectation for the student. Say, for example, if you go to Canada, you need to deposit certain amount, right? So the first part is you deposit your tuition fee amount, and you get a receipt from the college to apply for visa. GIC, you need to invest 10,000 Canadian dollar by opening up a Canadian bank account while you're still in India or overseas. And this would be to meet your living expenses while you're studying in Canada. And it's actually very easy opening an account from anywhere in the world. And this guaranteed income will also demonstrate to the visa officer that you have got enough funds to take care of your studies in Canada.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for answering. The next question is, what is SDS, Student Direct Stream?
Okay, student direct stream. Again, India is one of the lucky countries to come under the student direct stream, I would say. Student direct stream is an opportunity where when you apply for your Canadian visa, you get to know the results within 20 working days. So that's the general what do you say, acceptance. But the only requirement to apply for SDS direct stream would be that you need to have a minimum 6 band in every module of IELTS, as we were speaking about. And other than that, if you've already paid your tuition fee and if you're from India, I'm sure that you'll be able to apply. But now with the backlogs in application, it might take a little bit time, but India has a wonderful opportunity to be participating in the SDS category.
Right. Thank you so much, Shashi, for joining us, and hope this interactive session answered most of your questions. We are available one-on-one free online. You can just go to our bio, schedule a free one-on-one counseling session with us for more information and the details. Please go to our bio and book a slot. Thank you for joining us today. Next week, we have a live session that will be on 14th April. Life story of Jal Elati, director of Chalo Overseas, which will be followed by a rapid round questions. So stay tuned. We'll meet next week. Thank you so much. Wishing you all a happy weekend. Thank you so much, Shashi. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
And thank you, Rizwan. Thank you, and wish you all a happy weekend. Bye bye. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.